Do vegans hate non-vegans? Does not being vegan make you an awful person worthy of a swift kick in the groin, either literally or metaphorically through a drawn-out barrage of all-caps YouTube comments debate? Let's find out. Oh, and wear a cup. Hi, it's Emily from Bite Size Vegan, and welcome to another Vegan Nugget. Sometimes as a vegan, when I'm trying to advocate for the animals, educate about all of the horrors of the animal products industry, and make some sort of difference in the world, I can come off rather snarky. I think it's a pretty common conception that vegans can sometimes come off as judgmental and elitist. So, do we vegans really hate all non-vegans? Well, in one of my earliest nuggets, I addressed the question of why vegans are assholes, but I didn't really delve into whether or not we hate non-vegans. First off, let me say this. I cannot speak for all vegans, because whether you believe it or not, we really aren't a covertly connected club with secret nightly meetings and a worldwide underground tunnel system for the international trafficking of tofu. I've said too much. Seriously though, this video will mainly be my personal perspective on this issue, unlike my main educational nuggets, which are more research-based and unbiased. So, let it be known, I am not the universal voice for all vegans. Sorry to disappoint. Vegans are as diverse a lot as non-vegans, with just as many varied viewpoints and opinions, as evidenced by the unfortunate infighting and fracturing off of various vegan factions, both dietary and philosophical. But back to the video's premise. Do I hate non-vegans? The short answer is no. Now, it is possible to hate the action that a person takes without hating the person. The common saying for this is, hate the sin, not the sinner. Now, I shared in my recent speech at VegFest that as a child, I was very bitter and resentful against my own species. I would lie in bed at night crying, overwhelmed with the enormity of suffering in the world and humanity's seeming indifference to it all. I could not understand how people could be so cruel and uncaring, and I thought that I hated them, all of them. But I think it's important to note that what my cynical little angry 5-year-old self really hated was the injustice, the utter unfairness of it all. I wanted to know why nobody cared, and I felt powerless to make a difference. I believe that that is where so much of what is commonly seen as vegan hate really comes from. A devastating sense of loss, a profound mourning, and a feeling of utter powerlessness. When your eyes are open to the extreme enormity of unnecessary animal suffering and death at the hand of our species, it's hard not to become overwhelmed with anger and disgust. As the saying goes, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. And it is true. There is plenty to be outraged about in this world. And I do think that vegans should never lose touch with that anger and passion. When we lose that flame, we lose the drive to make a difference. Of course, this passion can sometimes overwhelm us and come out sideways in petty aggression or arguments. But to my non-vegans out there, know that this almost always comes from wanting so bad to save the lives of innocent animals and feeling powerless against what often seems to be a losing battle. I think it's equally important, however, to note that many, if not all, non-vegans truly don't know any better. They of course know that meat, dairy, eggs, and honey all come from animals, but they lack that true connection. I think we vegans who are now so hyper-aware of this truth can easily forget how powerfully obscured the reality of our food is within our society. We forget how inundated we are since birth with the acceptability of animal exploitation, and we forget that most of us were once there too. Most vegans, including myself, were not born and raised vegan. We once were the very non-vegans that we can now so easily judge. So, do I hate non-vegans? No. How can I? They are where I once was. Of course, once someone has learned the truth about animal products, if they choose to continue a life of exploitative practices, then personally, I may choose to distance myself from them. But do I automatically hate them? No. Am I frustrated? Absolutely. Discouraged, angry, disheartened? Sure. And hey, I'm not perfect. I've acted out on occasion. But I have learned since being a little hate-filled 5-year-old with early onset acid reflux that aggression, hateful speech, elitism, and exclusion are not effective means of education. If I approach non-vegans with the premise that they are bad people, I'm doing a disservice not only to them, but also to the animals. And if I portray veganism as an exclusive club beyond their humble grasp, the animals are the ones who ultimately suffer the most. They could care less about our petty differences and personality conflicts. They just want to live free. Now, all of this is not to say that it's okay to eat animals and animal byproducts. Don't think that I've gone soft on you. The exploitation, torture, enslavement, and murder of another being is never okay. It is never excusable or acceptable, and it's not a lifestyle choice or personal right to support such atrocities. I covered the issue of personal choice in diet extensively in this video, so please reference that before saying that I'm out to kill personal freedoms. The point here is that categorically hating an entire group of people without considering where they are in their journey is unfair and very ineffective activism. Everyone deserves a chance, human and animal alike. Now that you've heard my thoughts on this topic, I'd love to hear from you. If you're a non-vegan, do you get the feeling that vegans are exclusive or elitist or rude, or that they hate non-vegans categorically? If you're a vegan, do you find it difficult to interact with people who are still actively exploiting animals? How do you navigate these relationships? What methods of activism or education have you found most effective? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you liked what you heard, give the video a thumbs up and be sure to share it around. To support messages like this and join a fantastic community of awesome people, click on the Nugget Army icon or either one of the support links in the video description. If you're new here, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down there for more vegan awesomeness every Monday and Wednesday and some Fridays. And check out 2 of my earliest nuggets ever about vegans being exclusive elitists and how anyone from any background can be vegan. And keep in mind, they are really old videos, so be prepared for some pretty rough edits. Don't judge me too harshly. Now go live vegan, and I'll see you soon.